From the Russ Center for Media in downtown Cape Girardeau, welcome to Focus on Southeast, a program on issues, events, and people impacting the campus of Southeast Missouri State University. I'm Dan Woods with KRCU Public Radio. Today's show is all about SEMO's Sesquicentennial, which kicks off on March 22nd. We will not only discuss plans for the year-long celebration, but also look back at some events in the university's history with Kent Library's Special Collections and Archives librarian, Tyson Koenig. To get us started, we're joined by Katie Krodinger. She is Director of New Student Programs and co-chair of the Sesquicentennial Committee. Hey, Katie.
Hi. Great job on the name.
Oh, yeah, Sesquicentennial. I've been practicing a lot. Well, we're glad you're here with us.
Glad to be here. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the kickoff and how a lot of stuff happening this year as part of the celebration, right?
Yeah, so we're really excited to celebrate the people and the places that make SEMO so special. And we're going to kick that off with a birthday party, because if you're going to have a milestone birthday, right, you might as well do it big.
Right.
So on Wednesday, March 22nd from 11:30 to 1:30, we're going to be outside of Academic Hall in between Academic and Kent Library, and really just have a block party birthday party. We'll start with some remarks, we'll open a big present, cut some cake, and then we have over 100 booths of student organizations and campus departments that are ready to celebrate past accomplishments, what they're looking forward to, and then play some birthday party games as well.
Birthday party, and when you said birthday cake, you had
there's a big cake, so definitely come out and grab a slice of your preferred flavor. We'll have some other sweet treats because you can't have a birthday party without ice cream. And then, yeah, we have games and prizes and just an opportunity to fellowship and have a good time.
Excellent. And that just gets things started.
Yes.
So walk us through, I know there are many events in each month with different colleges, different groups. Kind of walk us through the year.
Yeah, so we really are going to celebrate for 13 months because, go big.
You're going to party, might as well.
Yes, there are several things that first weekend. We have the Fault Line Film Festival, which is an annual event that I know we'll be celebrating. We have our President's Council event and a Show Me Day. Our premier recruitment event will have an event that weekend that I know that they're going to highlight and do some special things. As we roll into April, I know we have several events down at the River campus, including the annual Jazz Festival. Education, obviously, founded as a teacher's college. We're going to be turning 150 there as well, so they'll be celebrating on April 20th with an event at the Evolution Center. As we roll into May, we will be doing the Celebrate the Arts event. We'll be celebrating National Nurses Week, and the alma mater is 85 years old, so what better time to celebrate than at commencement? As we head into the summer, a little slower time on campus. We'll be celebrating our faculty and staff. We'll be hosting the Eclipse Expo and preparing to welcome students back in the fall. We'll do lots around opening week. We have a big event planned for College Colors Day, which is always the first Friday in September. It'll be September 1st this year. And then additional events throughout the fall. Some highlights include National Education Week, a milestone anniversary for Southeast Online, milestone anniversaries for the library. On December 1st, we're going to do an event to celebrate the site selection of where SEMO is kind of now centered around, and the anniversary of the first classes hosted in Cape Girardeau. As we get into the spring, lots more milestones, things surrounding International Women's Month. We'll have an event for women in STEM during that time, and then we'll cap everything off in April of 2024 on the 8th with the next Great American Solar Eclipse. Cape Girardeau is again in the center of totality, so if you missed out on the one back in 2017, there's another opportunity to catch an eclipse here in Cape.
Yeah, when Dr. Vargas was here on the show, he said, we planned this whole year and we wanted to plan an eclipse, so we put that on the schedule to have that be the end.
Forethought of the founders to put the end of our anniversary year right on that eclipse was just really something special.
Great. So there's a lot. Let's talk about a few of these and zoom in a little bit. One of the things that caught my interest was the Eclipse Expo. I think that's in July, maybe this summer. What's that going to be like?
So when 2017 was coming around and everyone was planning for the eclipse then, there's a lot of interest in the scientific community, both from the scientific perspective of what an eclipse is and does, but also historically what it meant to civilizations and cultures. And so there's the scientific community is going to be hosting an event on our campus, because we again are at the center of totality, and bringing in those with an academic interest in an eclipse or who are interested in hosting events in their communities during the 2024 eclipse. And we're hosting that event There's some speakers, there will be workshops and kind of an expo setting, and so more information about that event will be rolling out in the next few weeks, but we're looking forward to welcoming the community to our campus for that.
Well, and then this fall, how will it be, this portion that's under construction will be done, so that's going to be part of all of this, right?
Yes, so details TBD,
of course,
but do hope to have a ribbon cutting for the new stadium during that time, and welcoming back our championship football team, and getting to welcome soccer back into that facility as well. We're really excited about that.
And February of 2024, the 28th, is the significant anniversary.
Yes, we'll be celebrating the 45th anniversary of the blizzard of '79, which anytime we post a picture of snow on social media, on the university's channels, we get alumni recollections of how significant that was for the area, and how long people were snowed in. But it's just a fun memory, and so we're going to do something winter weather related to just commemorate that event.
That was a big one. I was young, but I remember all the snow that we received in 1979. And so there'll be other things. You just sort of went over some of the highlights, but there'll be all kinds of things happening as part of this, right? Other departments are doing many things.
Every college has committed to doing some sort of event, whether it is, some of our colleges have very easy milestone anniversary, something that's happening, a 0-year, a 5-year anniversary. But we're also going to take the opportunity for things like, National Doctors Day and National Nurses Week, and celebrate those programs that tie in, but also our current students looking for careers in those areas, and our alumni that have gone on to have great success. So as those anniversaries, those national weeks, national days come up throughout the year, there will definitely be lots of attention paid to those areas, both on social media, but also with events on our campus.
And I think one of the things to highlight here is, it's something that's happening here at the university for faculty, student, staff, but this is for the whole region, right?
Absolutely. The more the merrier. Our alumni base is so wide, and there are people really in every corner of the globe now that are SEMO alumni, so we hope everyone finds a way to celebrate, whether near or far. On that birthday party day, we're going to have a contingent up in Chicago for a conference, and they're going to do a little alumni mixer, I think, during that time. Our regional campuses will be celebrating with us that day. The birthday party event specifically is going to be live streamed on our social channels, so those who can't make it in person or have an obligation that day will be able to join in some of the fun. But there will be lots of opportunities to come back to campus throughout the year. Many of our departments are going to host open houses and facility tours surrounding homecoming, which we know is a great time to come back to campus and celebrate. And as always, we're more than happy to show anyone around who wants to see what's new on campus since they've last been back. Yeah.
So give us a sense of how long has the committee been meeting, and I'm curious, what have you learned that maybe you didn't know about the university and this whole process of planning this?
Yeah, it's a great question. We started meeting in the late fall of 2021, and so about a year and a half prior to the actual kickoff of the birthday of the anniversary year. And there's someone from just about every department on campus that's been a part of it. And as we've gone around and met with deans and department chairs and program directors, the enthusiasm has been contagious, which is wonderful, but we've also uncovered milestones or things to celebrate that didn't occur to us. And I think that's what's so wonderful about a university is there's so many different interests and so many different areas of expertise, and everyone being so willing to do their digging in their own archives. I got to read a really wonderful comprehensive history of our Department of Agriculture that their faculty put together that I had never seen before. Gotten to see some photos from the archives that I think we're going to see some of here in a bit that I hadn't had a chance to view before, and work with retired faculty and staff that have been a part of the collection process to build a really comprehensive university timeline.
I don't know about you, but when I start looking at old photos and things like that, I can't stop.
No, I can't. I had collected quite a few with the grand reopening of academic back in 2013, so I have a pretty decent, photo gallery. But some of the new ones that we've uncovered or that I've gotten to see for the first time during this planning process has been really special. I have 2 copies of the Art Mattingly book that sit on my shelf in my office at all times, and Tanya jokes that I'll roll back in my chair and snag one off the shelf just about every time we're talking about the 150th. So it's just, I don't know, SEMO runs deep in my veins, and so it's just been a really cool process for me to get to participate in.
I'm in the process of reading Art's book, so it's been very interesting, and there's so much of the history of how the university started so small, and to look at where it is today, it's pretty amazing.
I think the students that were in that very first class of educators would be really proud of what the university has become, and be kind of astonished in so many ways. And we couldn't have done it again without the faculty and the staff, but also our students who believed in us when we were small, and the community support from Cape Girardeau that really rallied around getting SEMO to be SEMO here.
Are students excited about this, or I'm sure that's being integrated with student government and everybody else, right?
Yeah, so we have some graduate students who are doing a project to integrate it into coursework. They're building out some course content that they'll be able to take kind of on the road during the fall semester. They'll collect some data and some oral history. We have student government is very involved. They have some really cool giveaways for the birthday party, and they're going to co-host some events throughout the year with us. We're fortunate that the student government president, Joel, has been with us since right after he was elected, and Layla, the student government president before that, was on the planning committee. We've gone and met with their Senate, and they're excited, enthusiastic, and the outpouring of excitement from our student groups with our booths for the birthday party event. We're about double the number of booths we expected, and the majority of that is student groups. So we've been just blown away by how excited everyone is to celebrate. Okay, before you go, so how can folks find out more? I think there's a website dedicated to the SEMO.edu/150. There is a really wonderful by the decades timeline history, so a page about every decade since we were founded with lots of fun facts. So if you're a trivia buff, definitely check that out. There's some photos, even a big hit, I think didn't surprise any of us, but the historic logos kind of all lined up where you can see how it's evolved over the years. And then at the bottom of that page, there's a calendar, and it does take you into our master calendar feature, but you can toggle to Sesquicentennial as a channel and see everything that's related throughout the year. Okay. There's about a dozen things, 2 pages worth out there right now, but more events will be added as dates and times and locations firm up over the next 13 months. It's a good thing you did SEMO.edu/150 rather than /Sesquicentennial. Yes, because we want people to actually be able to get to the web page. It's now popping up as a suggestion in like my Outlook for the spelling. It's like anticipating when I'm going to need help spelling it. Really great. Well, Katie, thanks so much for being here. Looking forward to the celebration. Thank you so much for having me. Okay, when we come back, we'll take a stroll down memory lane and reflect on some of the events in the university's history. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We'll be right back.
Prescription drug pricing points to corporate
Freedom of the press is about your right to know. It's about your right to be informed. Today, there are real threats to press freedom.
Reaching residential areas.
And your right to know about the world around us. We must protect our right to know, no matter what kind of news is important to you. Before it's too late, understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.
What is Southeast Missouri? Let's try this again. You are Southeast Missouri. You make Southeast Missouri what it is. And Southeast Missouri is who we are. It's in our name. It's in our past. And with you, it's our future. Welcome home.
Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. SEMO is turning 150 this year, and the university is throwing a celebration that will last until the Great American Eclipse on April 8th, 2024. Katie Krodinger just shared with us what's coming up as far as celebrations and events, but we're now going to look back at some of the university's special events with Tyson Koenig. He's Special Collections and Archives Librarian at Kent Library here on the Southeast campus. Tyson, good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here.
I think it's your second time on our show.
Yes, indeed. I was here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, good to have you back. Okay, so we're going to take a stroll down memory lane, as we like to say. You work in the archives. There's all kinds of things that we could talk about, so we're going to kind of focus our conversation, I guess, on some of the early days. One of the things that jumps out in my mind is the normal school building, which tragically burned.
Yep.
And then academic came out of that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's great to be able to talk about university history with people, because this is what I think about all the time, and everybody's thinking about it now.
Yeah.
So 1873, the normal school, 3rd District Normal School, is founded, and the original campus building, which was known as the Normal School Building or Old Normal, was built just where Academic Hall is today, and it stood there for about 25-ish years, and it burned down in April of 1902, burned down in the middle of the night, so nobody's quite sure how the fire started. And the ruins were left there, and then Academic Hall was built in its place, and at that time the school was growing a lot, and there were already plans to build the buildings that are now behind Academic Hall, what's now Carnahan and the Art Building in Serena, and so then they built a new big campus building as well and built Academic Hall, which was dedicated, I believe, in 1906, and so it still stands today as, a monument to the university.
Yeah, and I think Katie mentioned this, but it was reopened in 2013. I can't believe that's been 10
been 10 years
ago now, but just a real symbol of the university.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Iconic architectural symbol, and J.B. Legg was the architect. He designed lots of buildings in Cape along with those behind it, so sort of, we all know the dome, right, as the symbol of the university.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot about buildings, and I want to spend a little time on that. River Campus, 2007.
Yeah, sort of the newest big addition to the universities there. And of course, the buildings are quite historic as well. St. Vincent's College, which was there for a long time and used in various capacities, and then the university was able to sort of rebirth it and add to it. So wonderful buildings on the River Campus and a real gem for people in the region.
And the Show Me Center.
Oh, yeah.
87, right?
Yep, 87, 86, 87, yeah. Obviously a big cooperation between the city and the university, and just an amazing venue that's there that the university uses and that has had lots of history happen in that time.
What are some of the things that are in the archives related to the university's history that folks may not really realize is there? So
basically, we collect anything related to the university's history as well as the history of the region, but today we'll talk about the university. So that includes basic, things like records of departments on campus and offices and things like that, records from the president's office, the provost's office, but then also anything that documents student life we're always happy to have. We have thousands of photographs of the university through the years, which again includes photos of things like presidents and members of the Board of Regents, but also photos of students doing things, photos of classes, all those sort of materials, as well as some, artifactual items, things that are.
Here's some of the photos up now.
Yeah, so these are sort of just a selection of photos that I sent that show university history. I think the one has some words on it. It was taken from a Sagamore, and so that's, a snowstorm on campus, and students walking through the snow, walking on the stairs. This is the sort of content that we really love best. Athletics photos like that, of course, we have tons of those. The old jerseys there, I'm not even sure what era that's from. Probably the 60s, I would guess.
Okay.
But we love anything that shows student life, sort of, that's a big deal for us.
Just the everyday, there's a special edition of the Capitol or Southeast Arrow that's out, and you were interviewed in that. You talked about just having just everyday regular stuff to put in the archives. That's really special.
Absolutely, that's what's really special for us. People all the time are like, oh, we talk to alums and they're like, oh, I don't have anything interesting, I was just a student. No, that's what we want if you were just a student. We want the documentation of everyday life and student organizations, that sort of thing.
And you still would accept things that folks want to
Absolutely.
donate, right?
If you're watching this and you're an alum or a current student and you have materials from your time as a student on campus, we want those things. Retired faculty and staff who have, materials about their time at the university, that's the sort of thing we want. We accept donations all the time.
When you look through the archives, what are some of the things that surprise you or jump out at you that you think, this is really, really special? What are some things there?
I think it's sort of just seeing all the different things that students have done over the years and the way that campus has changed over the years. We have tons of photos of old campus buildings, and people are always really interested in that. You know, in the library, we love seeing old photos of the library, and people who work on campus, it's the same way. They love to see things from their buildings before. Things, you know, Katie talked about the logos, things that show sort of how the image of the university has changed over the years, the mascots, things like that, seeing what student groups have done, and you know, Katie was just talking about the growth of the university over time. That's something that's really amazing. How things
now you talked about that too, because if you read Art Mattingly's book, as Katie talked about, the very beginning was very, very small.
Very small, yeah.
And the footprint and the size, exponential growth.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the normal school building that burned down, that was the building on campus until 1902, and everything was in there. And I think our first graduating class was 7 students, I want to say, in 1875. And so then just the huge growth over time. And you can see that with the physical expansion of campus over time, enormous growth after World War II, and you know, tracing the general trends of higher education in the U.S., just like everywhere.
So what books did you bring with you today?
I brought, these are some Sagamores, which everybody who remembers, or a lot of people know, the Sagamore was the university's yearbook. It was published from 1914 till 1989. This is the very first one, so the 1914 Sagamore. When basically anybody asks any question about university history from that time period, that's the first thing we say is, oh, go look at the Sagamore. We, of course, have a complete set of them. So, you know, they're all a little different, but they show photos. This says organizations, so campus organizations, photos of students. There's a big 16 for the class of 1916.
Oh, wow.
So that sort of thing. This says juniors, so photos of students, photos of organizations, photos of athletics, of course, through the year. There's some music students. The Sagamores are just amazing. So I brought just a sample. This is 1964, and I think this is one from the 1970s, how they evolve over time. There we've got the Missouri State Seal. They're just really fun. Like you say, people start looking at historic photos.
That's what I told Katie. Once you start looking at old photos,
yeah,
I look at old, even station stuff that from 20 years ago, and then I start reminiscing, and then I look for some more, and then next thing you know, I've wasted half an hour.
Right, and we have so many. This is one of my favorite things that I like to show people. So one thing that we have that a lot of people maybe don't think of is the university bulletins, the course catalogs. And so, you know, if you want to know what math classes was SEMO teaching in 1927, we can pull it out and show you. And this is actually the very first one from 1874 that says circular for 1874-75. So this is a list of, you know, not just classes, but rules and programming and how everything worked if you were signing up for classes in 1875. This is what you'd consult. There's a nice drawing of the old normal school on there that they did for it, and there's a list of the faculty members here. There were 5 of them the initial year, so, you know, for the handful of students. So I think this is just a really neat thing to be like, we have this all the way back to the beginning, and we have all of these.
All the Sagamores?
We have all the Sagamores, we have all the university bulletins, and we have all the minutes of the Board of Regents, that sort of thing. General things, we don't have a ton, especially up to 1902, because I imagine most of what was there was in the building that burned down. But we have sort of those basic things and can answer questions like that about what was happening on campus.
Do you keep or do you have files or notes from professors over the years, things that they maybe research they had done or things that they'd contributed?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something we're always open to getting more of is faculty members' documentation of their research and their teaching and their involvement on campus. That's sort of a core thing for university archives and even retired staff members who are really involved on campus and what they've done, because that's documentation of what was happening at the university, and that's what we want in archives is documentation of the activities that were happening, in our case, on campus.
And I guess there's room for more things.
Always. I mean, we will make room. We're always happy to get more. That's why we exist, is to take in materials, to document university history, and to help people access it. Anybody can come in or call us or email us anytime, and we'll help you learn about what you want to learn about.
Let's talk a little about, so with the university and then the region, so you keep up things from the region as well, which seems to me, if you could be a way to pair those together and have a really good picture of what was going on the campus, in Southeast Missouri, kind of all at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, because it all intersects. So we have the university archives and special collections and archives, and then we also have regional history collections. So we document the whole region of Southeast Missouri, and particularly, you know, Cape Girardeau and Cape Girardeau County. And so you can sort of see both ends, and it's obviously very integrated all through the years with what's happening on campus and in the region as a whole.
You've probably seen pretty much everything that's in the archive or know what's there, but is there anything that surprised you as you maybe got ready to pull stuff together for the Sesquicentennial?
I think I will say I haven't seen everything that's in. I know kind of the broad strokes of everything we have, but I know more about what's there than anybody. I've been here 8 years, but I would say I'm surprised regularly at things that we find. We were going through photos from past anniversaries of the university, and we found a picture of President Parker cutting the cake for the 75th anniversary, so that would have been 75 years ago, so halfway. And it was this very elaborate cake, and there were cupcakes on one level and various things. And so seeing how that was commemorated over time, we've been doing exhibits at the library. And so it's always those gems of like, oh, this is campus history, or here's a photo of a class of students in 1950 whatever, and it's amazing like, oh, we still have this today and can show it. And we could sit and look through the Sagamores for ages.
Yeah, and I'm guessing with this celebration you're going to want to collect stuff from the Sesquicentennial to add to, so 75 years
absolutely, and that's one thing, was everything's calming down. I got to poke at Katie and Tanya and be like, yeah, we need stuff from the committee's work. And of course, I'm on the committee, to document everything that was going on there. I think Tanya just emailed me the other day asking about T-shirts, and I was like, we want a T-shirt for the archives, to show like the commemorative T-shirts that are being done for the Sesquicentennial.
Do you keep audio and video too?
We do indeed. If we have it, we are happy to get, in fact, a lot of Dr. Dufek's video that he had when he retired. We got, so yeah, we want to make that available to people, and there's all sorts of audio and video from recent years that we want people to come in and use anything that documents university history.
Okay, before we go, we should remind folks, I guess, if they do have items that they would like to contribute, they can. How do they go about doing that? Is there anything special they need to know to put things into the archive? Just
reach out to us, and even if you think what you have isn't that interesting, don't assume that, please. So you can contact me or us at Special Collections and Archives, SEMO Archives at semo.edu, or just go to the library's website and there's Special Collections and Archives. There's a link there, and just reach out to us, reach out to the library, and I or somebody on our staff will get in touch with you.
And if they want to come see stuff, they should, it's available to view. Yep,
it's available to anybody. We're on the third floor of Kent Library, and we're open 5 days a week, 8 to 12, 1 to 4:30, fewer limited hours during the summer, but we're there every day to help anybody else who wants to see. You don't have to make an appointment. You can come in and tell us what you want, and we'll do our best to help you find it.
That's fantastic. Tyson, it's always good to talk with you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you again, Dan.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, Focus on Southeast is a collaboration of KRCU Public Radio and the Department of Mass Media here at Southeast Missouri State University. Just a reminder that portions of these conversations will be broadcast on KRCU and will also be available at krcu.org and on the station's YouTube channel. From the Russ Center for Media, I'm Dan Woods. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when we focus on Southeast.